com via the Apple and Android smartphone app using the SoundCloud, iTunes, or Spotify podcast, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, and the hashtag is in the know. Coming up today, we'll update you on the latest news headlines from around the community, the county, the Commonwealth, and the country. We will also have the return of the water cooler question, that and a whole lot more coming up today here on In the Know. Settling into my left, rolling Mach 9 with her hair on fire, is my beautiful wife, the beautiful girl. It's Beach. Good morning, sweetheart.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
Not too bad. It was a weird weekend weather-wise.
Yes.
It was kind of, it was just kind of a weird day. Yesterday was pleasant. We'll talk more about that. But I do want to start off your work week with a heartwarming story that's going to get you in the feels. It's about a young giraffe calf. You like giraffes.
I love giraffes.
With a new lease on life. At the San Diego Zoo, a baby giraffe is getting a little extra pep in her step thanks to the doctors who have built some leg braces. You can see they look kind of similar in ways. They look like, so it's just kind of a new lease on life. So you see that little calf there wobbling around and trying to, isn't that precious?
So sweet.
Now, if you could just put a giraffe in high heels on roller skates, and it would be even more funny. A little Marty Huggins humor for you this morning. He is a 5-time winner of the coveted Ohio Newshawk Award. He's a 2-time Silver Sound nominee, covering every corner of the globe: London, Budapest, Rio, Tokyo, and even Litchfield. He's Sam Gormley and the Sparks. Morning, Sam.
Morning, Ralph.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm feeling a little bit accomplished. You and I single-handedly. Well, maybe not single-handedly. We got all the class of 22 graduated on Friday.
We had some help.
I mean, we did have a little bit of help. We can't do it without them, but to be clear, we did do some heavy lifting.
We did a little bit of everything, and the wind. Oof.
The wind was rough, but it made 90 degrees feel like 80 degrees.
Yeah. I mean, that was it.
Like
I was saying, I was telling, it might have been Lacey Cox. I said it's kind of a double-edged sword.
Yeah. You take the.
Yeah, because it was nice because we weren't completely drenched in sweat at the end of the evening, but at least it did kind of tamper some of their plans.
By the way, kudos, great work, quick work. I think they were giving out diploma holders. So, trade secret, the diplomas aren't really in the diploma holders. They were giving away, they were cheesing for their photographs with Mr. Robinson by about 20 minutes after. I mean, we made quick work of it. The class president, Katie's speech was quick, and then we just made it all the way through it. And then I think the whole thing, start to finish, was like an hour and 20 minutes. So, brilliant. And we've been blessed with some great weather. We've done an outdoor event for this the last 3 years. The 20 version was a little bit different. The last 2 years. If you
remember right,
similar.
The 20 version, it started to rain right at the end. Like, I think even it was one of those things that you were even making a comment, it might have been, and we haven't had any rain as we're wrapping up, and it started to drizzle right off, and it was like the perfect timing for that, but there was no, I'm not sure it rained a single drop the entire day, so it felt really nice.
Yeah, it was pretty good. So congratulations to the class of 22. They are off and started, and it was a packed house. I mean, there was even that photograph. You could tell that was taken probably 45 minutes to an hour. There were people sitting in front of the field house, and I did learn later each graduate got 10 tickets. So just multiply that out. That's a lot of people into what's seemingly a big space, but maybe not so big.
They got to break in the new bleachers.
That's right. Cloudy and cool today. Kind of a departure. We should be at 80, and we'll struggle to get to 70 today. May not even get quite there. Clouds will be present today, tonight, but break up for some partly sunny skies by tomorrow. Wednesday is going to feature a round of a thunderstorm earlier in the day, then maybe a little bit of break, and then later on in the day as well. Memorial Day weekend, Saturday, for the Memorial Day service in Litchfield, the processional. It's technically technically called a parade, but it's not your typical parade. It's not a candy parade. It's a somber parade. And but that event is looking perfect for Saturday morning. And I think the high on Saturday is like 79. So picture perfect Memorial Day weekend, at least for the Saturday. The rest of it is still shaping up. So we'll see 68 is our high today, 54 is the low tonight, and then partly cloudy and a high of 82 for tomorrow.
Yeah, it's chilly when I woke up here this morning.
What to expect. Yeah, I noticed it was 58 when I woke, and then that dropped on down to about 56 before warming up again. President Biden is traveling, and he launched a new trade deal with 12 Indo-Pacific nations aimed at strengthening their economies, as he warned Americans worries about high inflation that is going to be a haul before they feel relief. He spoke at a news conference after holding talks with Japan's prime minister and acknowledged the U.S. economy has problems. Yes, they inherited. COVID had a big impact, and some of the changes in COVID are having. They were the cough or the cold that have given us some of the symptoms, but they have not done anything to help themselves based upon what they inherited. We got supply chain issues, we got inflation issues. One of the big supply chain issues involves formula. So parents of infants, really concerned about the ability to properly nourish their young children. A military plane carrying enough specialty infant formula for more than 500,000 baby bottles arrived yesterday in Indianapolis, the first of several flights expected from Europe, aimed at relieving a shortage that has sent parents scrambling to find enough to feed their children. So I think a lot of parents will say, well, it's not enough. They can't come quickly enough, but all they can do is get them and do the best that can be done. But it does look like some help is on the way, so that's good. This headline, I saw some of this on Saturday evening. Semi-truck minus the driver, minus a trailer with a dog inside, rolled out of a restaurant parking lot on Saturday evening and rolled across 259, then rolled onto the on-ramp of the westbound parkway before a passerby was able to hop in the truck and bring it to a stop. And the police and the driver, who was busy getting a sandwich, one of those big foot-long sandwiches, he got there.
Listen, when you get into that, you're not just, you're distracted.
He got there about the same time that the police got there. And so the dog wasn't injured. The truck was not really injured. And
I thought this was a stock photo. Because sometimes there'll be a stock photo that'll be used. Nope, that's the dog.
No, this is the dog.
Yeah, that's the dog. No, I thought it was like a fake photo, or something trying to get it.
You thought it was a stock image. No, this is it.
Because the dog's like posing, like,
Yeah, he's
hi.
like, hey, look at me.
Well, I passed this vehicle sitting in a parking lot when the photographer of the photo,
Which you can see, I like. That's how I could tell it wasn't a stock photo.
yes, you can see the reflection.
Okay.
So let's see it again. You can see the reflection of the photographer. So there's Ken.
That is so funny.
And so, I passed as this was happening.
And I like that it looks like an officer, I can't tell who it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, you taking that well enough? Like,
But the dog's just kind of cheesing in there. The dog
that's great.
The dog was tethered. The dog was in some type of seatbelt or seat restraint in there. And so
he had a rough day.
Can somebody please stop
But
this?
imagine, getting your sandwich, you got your sandwich in your bag, and you got your Sun Chips and whatever, and
Ugh.
then you go
Oh, yeah.
I said or whatever,
He's a semi truck driver. He didn't eat sun
and you
chips.
go out to the parking lot and go, hey, two things: one, where's my truck? Two, where's my dog?
I think the dog would probably come first.
Depending upon whose truck it is. If that truck belongs to someone else, he might have thought, oh no, I've lost someone's truck. So anyway, no
And
one
then
was
he
hurt.
just peered down the hill and
That's good. A Louisville doctor has been arrested after allegedly hiring an undercover FBI agent to kill her ex-husband. 52-year-old Stephanie Russell is a pediatrician with Kids Life Pediatrics at Norton Commons, was arrested Thursday by the FBI. She is accused of contracting a person on Sunday to kill her former husband. She agreed to pay a total of $7,000 in the murder for hire scheme. She placed half the payment in a Dropbox outside her office on Wednesday. That's according to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Western District, and then agreed to pay the remaining $3,500 after the job was done. If convicted, she faces up to 10 years in federal prison. I noticed in her booking photo, she covered up the logo on her scrubs. She was arrested, and she was arrested in wearing her scrubs that I would imagine identified her employer, and at least had the. It's not going to end well for me, but maybe she was trying to do some level of damage control. So I don't know if any of that's true or not, but they feel like they have it on pretty good authority that she's involved. The Kentucky Attorney General's office says it is not currently investigating the governor's office, but claims that Governor Andy Beshear mischaracterized a recent information request, which is the latest twist in an escalating political feud. Beshear said this week it was, quote, news to us that Attorney General Daniel Cameron has no active investigation of his office. The Democratic governor maintains the Republican Attorney General broke ethics rules by investigating his administration and then later filing paperwork to run against him for governor. So it's back and forth, kind of setting the tone for what will be a politically charged clash. The Beshear administration doesn't have to worry about getting primaried. Like they can kind of take on any of those Republican challengers where they think that it's in their best interest. What the Cameron people have to be careful of is that they're not the nominee yet, so they want to be careful about tangling with the incumbent when there might be a situation where it's like you got to make sure you get out of your own primary first. But what the Attorney General's office is explaining it as, they asked for an open records request on how much money the governor's office had paid on outside legal counsel. So the governor's office is hiring outside legal counsel, and they're paying for it out of their budget. And so the Attorney General has the right to ask for open records, how much are you spending on that? The Attorney General has the right to ask that. I have the right to ask that. You have the right to ask that. But now I'm not measuring the curtains in the governor's office either. So it sometimes you have to go back to motive, but it's seemingly an honest question. I saw another story, Sam, and I don't know what happened to it. It got away from me, but I saw a story about where sometimes I wonder why law enforcement officers are just sitting in a parking lot. You see them congregated. Mm-hmm. You'll see a couple of them there. And I usually think, well, they're talking about things. They're working on something that they maybe don't want on radio traffic, or they're exchanging information. And then sometimes, like a story that I just saw from K105.com, shows why they sit certain places, because it's the equivalent of going out and fishing and having fish jump into the boat and say, please catch me. Because over the weekend, some LPD officers were sitting, at the BP station at East and West White Oak and South Main Street, and they were just sitting there talking, and someone driving erratically comes through and nearly strikes an ambulance, and then basically is found to be impaired of some kind, and so got arrested.
Drugs on his person when he went into the jail.
Yes, and so I just thought, well, sometimes if you've ever been fishing and you had a fish jump into the boat and say, put a hook in my mouth, that's kind of what happened.
Is that what they say?
I think that's what the fish say, yes. And then they say, take me to the river. Have you ever seen one of those Buddy the Bass fish that they used to mount to the wall as a battery operator?
Yeah.
Take me to the river. The Grayson County High School track and field team medaled in 14 events during regional competition last week. The meet, which decides who will represent the region at next month's state championship, was held at North Hardin High School. Good-looking bunch of Grayson County High School students there, so I wanted to make sure and kind of give them some props. Saw Luke Milner and Houston Brooks and Peyton Nash, Dylan Gibson, Zach Pierce, Ellie Evans, Alexis Henderson, Amelia Hayes, and Rayleigh Shepard are all included in that photograph.
And they'll find out this week whether they get to make it to state.
Whether they go on. Is that
correct?
Do they find out on the 28th?
By the 28th, I think is what Coach Hayes told me last week.
So you were talking to Coach Hayes, and then you saw me do Proud Dad move.
You did.
I did. I used that opportunity. I said, "Hey, got your future track star lined up." She's just coming off of a win, fresh
Now-
off the Clarkson Kindergarten Derby win.
I'm sure.
And he said,
I'm
he
sure
said,
Coach Reese, when you were saying that, said, "Whoa, hey now, spring sports." She's already.
might have a little bidding war, but yeah. So, but could you tell he was kind of interested? What did he say? 5th grade,
7th grade.
7th grade.
But I think they have a young team and
Right,
so on. So,
right,
but
right. Okay.
maybe
Well.
we can fudge some paperwork, right?
Oh, no.
No, we probably can't do that. But we'll certainly have her. We'll try and have her ready whenever she gets ready. 7th grade. All right.
7th grade.
That's important to know.
Have some time.
Justin Thomas won the PGA Championship. I still can't get accustomed to the PGA Championship being in May. It's been in August forever. And even though I think this is the 3rd year that it's been in May, it just doesn't, I just can't, the PGA Championship is the last major, not the second. So, but Kentucky native Justin Thomas finished well. His first 2 rounds were very good, and Saturday he was kind of like, and then yesterday closed well and managed to get him to back his way into a 3-hole aggregate playoff against Will Zalatoris, and he just played extremely well in the playoff. Pereira was the one. I think that's how you say his name. The moment just too big for him. He had a chance. He was a revolution of the ball away from a 2-shot lead, walking to the 72nd tee, but ended up carrying a 1-shot lead and then blew up on the 72nd hole.
He choked.
Yeah, look, his golf swing on the 72nd tee looked like mine.
And then when you also think about it, 72 holes in 4 days, you got to be tired and.
Plus, he doesn't even have any. He's only playing in his second major, and he doesn't have any tour wins. So to be in that moment,
It happens.
yeah, it certainly happens. But I got to give the kid some credit. He he went and signed his scorecard, came back, talked to Amanda. I can't remember her name. I've got it confused with Zalatoris now.
It's close to that.
Yeah, it is. And he stood right there and talked to her, and he just kind of, shook it off and just said, I'm still learning. And I was like, well, that's a good attitude to have. So I was impressed by him. He was very gracious in defeat, and after he kind of blew up there on the 72nd hole. Rich Strike will run the Belmont, but now early voting, the Preakness winner says no for the Belmont. So it didn't really matter. It wasn't shaping up for a Triple Crown either. I guess I would have liked to see those two, they could settle it and see your Derby winner and your Preakness winner get to settle and see who might be best.
I did appreciate some of the headlines
Belmont.
dealing with early voting winning.
Yeah,
it was-
that was the Twitter sphere's
I enjoyed it.
heyday.
It was-
And then the filly who won the Oaks, Secret Oath, ran hard, finished 4th in the Preakness. And so it was good to see her out there trying to mix it up with the boys and see how things shook out. And then the Red Series with the Blue Jays was not all for naught. Joey Votto homered to give the Reds a 3-2 win yesterday.
Yes. Yeah. Going home, too, because he grew up 10 minutes from that ballpark.
Yeah, he's not, and it's
Yeah.
good to have him back and healthy. And just if the Reds can get healthy, they'll suddenly look like a much better
And
team.
they are starting to get healthy, and immediately look what's happening. They've won 8 of 12, I think is what it is.
They're going to host the Cubs.
Ugh.
Got a 4-game series against the Cubs starting today in Cincinnati.
Might need to separate UConn and me tomorrow.
Okay, well, heard it last minute that UConn, he's so scared of you and your Reds that he will not come here tomorrow and sit next to you because of that. So just be prepared. Got to get to a break. We'll come back. Going to talk road to summer safety. Jenny Cummings from the Grayson County Health Department is here. Going to talk all about that coming up here on In the Know. The Lone Star Championship Rodeo is coming to the Grayson County Fairgrounds May 27th and 28th. Bronc riding, calf roping, steer wrestling, barrel racing, bull riding, and more. There'll be a best dressed cowboy and cowgirl contest and gold rush for kids 10 and under. Tickets are $15 for adults, $10 for kids 4 to 12, and kids under 3 are free. Get your tickets online at LoneStarRodeoCompany.com or call 270-269-6000. The Lone Star Championship Rodeo coming to the Grayson County Fairgrounds in Litchfield May 27th and 28th.
When you're feeling under the weather or concerned about your family's health, you want the support of a trusted medical provider who lives close by and is available to care for you and your family. Dr. Gregory Koo is a family medicine physician who is putting down roots in this community. With 22 years' experience, he's now accepting new patients in both Caneyville and at Owensboro Health Twin Lakes Medical Center in Litchfield. Learn more online at owensborohealth.org/KOO.
This is Sheriff Norman Chaffins with the Grayson County Sheriff's Office. Responding to traffic crashes involving injuries or deaths in Grayson County is a tough part of the job. There is so much out of your control when driving, but what you do have control over is wearing a seatbelt. Less than 2 seconds. That's all the time it takes to buckle up. Those 2 seconds will give you the best chance of surviving a crash, especially at night when the risk of death triples. Why do we enforce seatbelt laws? It's not about writing tickets, it's about saving lives. Please, Grayson County, always buckle up.
TikTok is getting into the gaming business. Social Network is testing a pair of mobile mini games on its platform in Vietnam. The HTML5 games on its app come via partnerships with Zynga and other third-party developers. TikTok reportedly plans to release ad-supported games drawing from parent company ByteDance's library to boost revenue and engagement. Amazon is delivering stuff from malls. Bloomberg says the e-commerce giant is using contracted flex drivers to deliver packages from mall-based retailers, allowing sellers to ship products from their own stores. As you know, Amazon Flex launched in 2015 and uses everyday drivers to deliver packages from their own cars. They earn between $18 and $25 an hour, depending on the type of shift, and are responsible for costs like gas tolls and car maintenance. Stranger Things' 4th season finally debuts on Friday, but if you want an early preview of what's to come, Netflix posting the first 8 minutes of the season on YouTube. Tech Report, Larry Olson, NBC.
2, 3, 4. Well, things have been a little complicated. Quality life has got me down.
Today is Lucky Penny Day, so if you see a penny, you pick it up, and all day long you, of course, have good luck. It's Taffy Day today, and it's World Turtle Day today. I don't know if it's Turtle the candy,
Yertle the turtle?
or if it's Turtles, the actual turtles. Do either one, whichever one makes you happy. It's also the day we say good morning and welcome back to Jenny Cummings from the Grayson County Health Department. Morning.
Morning.
Welcome back.
Well, thank you, and thank you for having me.
Good to see you as always. Last time you were here, we were talking about your drive-through.
We had a drive-through baby shower.
Yeah, drive-through baby shower. That's
Yeah.
right. For the people that don't know, kind of explain what all is on your plate at the health department. Like when you go to work, like what are the things? Say, well, that's a Jenny thing. What are those types of things?
Oh, goodness. Well, I do community health education. So basically, any events or any, like whether that's at the school or community events or things like that just kind of educate the community on topics that are important. It's kind of like being I think it's kind of like being a party planner.
Oh,
You're
okay.
always planning
That
an
sounds
event
fun,
or
yeah.
something fun for our community to help connect them with resources and things like that. So we're always working on a project. We're always working on an event.
So the project you're working on now
Yes.
it's called The Road to Summer Safety.
It is.
It's going to happen later this week, but kind of talk to me about the origins of the Road to Summer Safety and why it's important right now.
Well, this is the second year we've done this event. Last year we did it in July, and it was so hot. When we thought about it this year, we was like, we're going to move it to May as soon as school's out. Basically, the purpose of this program is to educate our community and families on just how to have a safe summer. Anything from water safety, living in a lake community, the Rough River Corps of Engineers is going to be there, and they're going to talk about like boating safety, open water safety. We're going to have people there talking about just pool safety as far as, how to stay safe that way. All our first responders are going to be there to kind of talk about different elements of things, the fire department, but just all elements. We even have Twin Lakes Behavioral Health and Wellness are going to be there, and they're going to just talk about like the mental health aspect of the summer and how to make sure kids are doing okay. And we're going to have lots of community partners, lots of free giveaways. We're going to have free T-shirts. Cook Shaved Ice is going to be there, which is always a hit. Mm-hmm. So we're really excited about it.
I notice when you call it the Road to Summer Safety,
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was kind of poetic in calling it that way. But one of the reasons maybe it's called that way is I see two different
Yes.
geographic locations listed. There's one at the Ronald Hudson Fire Station, but then also one at City Park. What's
Yes.
the difference between the two?
Well, both are going to have completely different community partners there. So don't feel like if I go to one, I'm kind of done. Go to both because there's going to be things at both places that are completely different. The Ronald Hudson Fire Station is going to have all our first responders are going to be there. Warren Rural Electric is going to be there with their setup. And if you've ever seen that, that's really
It's
phenomenal.
impressive.
Yeah. The kids love that. They love to do the static electricity experiment that they have there where their hair raises up and all that. Cook Shaved Ice is going to be there. And so that's going to be the fire station. Then at the city park, the Corps of Engineer is going to be there. Then we're also going to have lots of just other, I want to say vendors, but community partners like Silverleaf is going to be there. Twin Lakes Behavioral Health and Wellness, I mentioned them earlier. Our hands department is going to be there, and they're going to have games for the kids and cotton candy. The library is going to be there, but just lots of just great information for the summer.
I think about the way that we rely upon the school experience, the educational experience, in particular our public schools, and the number of helpers that young people will encounter through we'll just round up and say 10 months
Yeah.
that the school calendar. So by the time they start in, late July or early August and they go through late May, that there's about a 2-month period in here where maybe 2.5 months in our cases, the way the school year ended, where I believe that children become more vulnerable because they aren't encountering the same number of helpers or the same number of professionals that are kind of keeping an eye out for red flags or things that might be problematic for kids. I know Grayson County Schools, they have their summer feeding program that I will presume they are continuing. This is another way, for the community, the professionals in the community, to also reach out and connect with families and kids to help kind of keep them protected over this 2.5 months that they're about to face it alone, if you will, without
Yes.
the school infrastructure. Does
Right.
that make sense?
Yes, it does. And one of the reasons we bring in all the first responders too is I think it gives kids a great opportunity to have a positive experience with first responders. The first experience they have is going to be a good one, and they can kind of look at that in a more positive light than they would in other situations. So that's one of the really great things too.
Too many times, young people that are, maybe they're coming from backgrounds where they're vulnerable to,
Yeah.
bad things that happen or witnessing things like domestic abuse or violence or crime. Too often, the encounters they have with law enforcement officers are under negative circumstances. So it's very good to get, into not just a neutral, but a proactive, positive environment where they, see that they are the helpers and they're people that they can rely upon when they're in a pinch.
Yeah.
Is this I noticed this is an evening event. Sometimes we do these things middle of the day, but families are
Right.
working and they've got schedules to keep. But this is nestled right in the late afternoon hours. It seems to me very convenient for families.
Yeah, we tried to schedule it that way, so that way as people got off from work and things like that, they would have time to get there. And the event is from 4 to 6, but it's very much a come and go kind of event. So, if you get off work at 5 and you have time to go ahead and get started, then that's fine too.
Yeah, and even if you are limited, you say, well, only having half an hour to do it, that's a half hour of benefit that you
Right.
aren't going to get otherwise.
Right.
So it's 1303 Brandenburg Road in Litchfield, or the 810 Nature Trail on the Bevel Park. That's actually the pavilion.
Yes, it's the pavilion.
At James
yeah.
D. Bevel City Park. That's Thursday from 4 to 6. And in the event, this is the time of year where we can get an isolated rain shower. All of a sudden, the wind pops up. We're planning on having this Thursday 4 to 6, but in case it's raining about 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock, where do I turn to figure out how you're adjusting?
Well, definitely follow the health department social media page. We're on Facebook, and that's where we're going to be trying to post all of our updates on the event. If there were to be, if there was a need for us to reschedule or just to move to a different location, we will be working on that this week. So
I'm going to circle back to that in just a minute. We'll button up that event. But I saw something today that reminded me of you, knowing that you were coming in today, especially as it pertains to education. A new study says new parents Google more than 2,000 baby questions during their infant's first year.
oh my goodness.
And I know sometimes you're probably Google too, because people you encounter at the health department, they've got lots of questions. Is there one question people ask more than any other when it comes to infancy or having an infant?
Oh goodness. We get a lot of questions about car seats because we have a car seat program.
Right.
And how long you should rear face an infant. We get that one a lot. But we also just get lots of questions about, sleep. When will my child sleep through the night? When is that going to happen? And is there something magic we can do to make that happen?
By the way, I saw 77 sleepless nights on average, according to this study, is how many you lose. You make 56 calls to your parents asking questions. Say, when I was, and then 67 calls to medical experts, 77 sleepless nights, 2,000 questions that you might Google. That seems like a lot of questions.
That's a lot.
Especially in the first year in 365 days. And then I saw this other study too, and I'm sure it's something you all are observing and working on. Children are exercising less and spending more time on the couch than before the COVID-19 pandemic. Are you observing changes in people and their motivation levels coming out of the pandemic?
Yeah, it's different. And, hopefully we're working on kind of coming out of that and getting back to normal as far as like getting out there, getting exercise and taking care of ourselves.
That's accurate for 25-year-olds.
It's the same can be said for 25.
Yes.
So maybe the demographics know no limits in this
Or maybe
regard.
I'm just a child at heart.
Perhaps that could be it. But a good way to get out and be active, walk, just get off the couch and be connected with things is the Road to Summer Safety. It's this Thursday, in fact, 4 to 6, so right on the precipice of Memorial Day weekend. You can start either at the Ronald Hudson Fire Station in 1303 Brandenburg Road in Litchfield, or at the pavilion, the City Park Pavilion, James D. Bevel City Park. You get a different experience at each one, and make sure you stop by. Sounds like it's well worth attending. And then where do I get more information, Jenny, just in case I need to check in and any place I can turn?
You can always call the health department at 270-259-3141 or check out our Facebook page, Grayson County Health Department.
Wonderful to see you as always. Good
It's
luck
good to
with
see
your
you.
events. The Road to Summer Safety, presented by the Grayson County Health Academy, part of the Grayson County Health Department. We got to get to a break. We'll come back. Got today's water cooler question. There's a new Kentuckian who is the American Idol champion. We'll tell you about that and plenty more on the way here on In the Know.
Today, successful small businesses are lean, portable, and focused. If you're running your own business, you need to stay in tune to your customers, vendors, and employees. That doesn't leave much time for processing payroll and reporting, much less the overall performance of your business. The firm of Buckles, Travis, and Hart has a full offering of services for small businesses. Payroll processing, tax liability, unemployment, and financial reporting, just to name a few. Think of them like a built-in business manager, but they don't get sick and they don't ask for time off. Call or contact today to help get your business focused across the board. Buckles, Travis, and Hart, 270-259-5604, GraysonCPAs.com.
When caring for a family member, their state of health is continually on your mind. And when they're faced with a health concern, you'll do just about anything to make them feel better. Rest assured, their feel better starts right here at Midway Pharmacy. We take our time to get to know all about your family's health history so we can provide you with educated advice. So when someone's counting on you to help them maintain a healthy lifestyle or to overcome that untimely sickness, remember, at Midway Pharmacy.
Homeowners, especially on the lake, have most likely experienced or will experience water erosion on their properties. There is a solution and preventative measures that can protect against this type of erosion. With the help of products and service from Scotty's Contracting and Stone, crushed rock road enhancements can provide erosion control and shoreline protection. Well-designed and maintained erosion control helps ensure that today's beautiful and safe landscapes remain so tomorrow. To discuss erosion control and shoreline restoration solutions with Scotty's Contracting, call 270-259-5696.
I'm Trooper Tony Cornwell with the Kentucky State Police.
And I'm Trooper Sarah Burgess with Kentucky State Police.
When working traffic across western Kentucky, responding to crashes involving death or injuries is a tough part of my job.
When you drive, there is so much out of your control.
But what we do have control over is wearing a seatbelt.
Less than 2 seconds. That's all the time it takes to buckle up.
Why do we enforce seatbelt laws?
It's not about writing tickets, it's about saving lives.
Please, always buckle up.
A message from the Kentucky Office of Highway Safety.
It's your man Buffalo Steel from the world famous Snappy Roots, and I got a message for you. Never underestimate you. Never underestimate you.
The Work Ready Kentucky Scholarship provides free tuition for Kentuckians who want to earn a degree in a high-demand career field. Go to workreadyky.com to learn more, or give them a call at 833-711-WRKS.
Available at the Kentucky Community and Technical College System.
Never underestimate you.
While we may disagree a lot, we do agree Rural King's our favorite place for pets.
Like cats, all the toys and treats and the fun little beds.
I like the dog section, the food, the chewies. Oh, pig ears.
Of course you choose the Easy Pet.
Right, because your cats are so warm and loyal.
I hope the doghouse is warm tonight.
It's never warm.
No, it's not. Can I help you?
Yeah,
catnip.
rawhide?
Catnip.
K105 Weather is brought to you by Future Designs Building Materials on Quarry Road in Litchfield.
Clouds hold on throughout the day with some spotty showers here and there, occasionally mainly in our Kentucky counties. Drier as we head into tonight. The clouds clear out and temperatures fall down into the 40s and the low 50s. Much more sunshine tomorrow with highs into the upper 70s and low 80s. From the Wave News Storm Tracking Team, I'm meteorologist Tawana Andrew.
That's when you need someone that you can call.
Did you know mosquitoes prefer children to adults and blondes to brunettes? So if you're a blonde child, you are a mosquito magnet.
Right.
But
at one time I was a blonde child. I don't know if that.
Me too. Brief period of time. It didn't last very long. So
Not me.
There you go. All right. The weekend box office. Master Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Number one 3 weeks in a row. $31.6 million. Going to go ahead and predict this time next week. I will be telling you that Top Gun Maverick is the number one grossing movie of the weekend. That's
I would concur.
Just the way that it's going to be. Should I go ahead and give you... By the way, before we give you today's water cooler question, I'm going to give you the answer to Friday's that we forgot to give you, and I think we got it taken care of with the winner and all that stuff. But the answer, for those of you who didn't know, was messy. You know, we asked about the majority of what women said one word to describe their spouses or their significant others, and it was messy was the word that they used. So I don't know what Sam wrote down. I don't know what you wrote down, honey.
That's not one that I wrote down, but I did leave mine laying over there.
I still have it loud.
Loud. All right, here's today's water cooler question. You're going to text your answer to 270-259-6000. Text your answer to 270-259-6000. The Lone Star Rodeo comes to the Grayson County Fairgrounds this weekend, and we have 4 tickets for you for Friday night's show. It's a $60 value, and you'll have to be the first person to identify. By the way, if you couldn't have won in the last 30 days, and you must be 18 years of age or older. In a survey, 18% of people admitted to stealing this from work. In a survey, 18 out of 100 people admitted stealing this from work. What is it? Text the answer to 270-259-6000. Text the answer to 270-259-6000. 18% of people pilfer this from The Office. Well, we have a new American Idol, and he happens to hail from Louisa, Kentucky, from Lawrence County. I must tell you, I was surprised. I was surprised for multiple reasons. I was surprised that Leah Marlene was the first to be eliminated. They were worried about Hunter Girl and Noah Thompson splitting the country vote, but they did not. They made it to the final two. And then Noah was crowned the winner last night, so congratulations to him. What a great story. They both had unique stories. Hunter Girl has done a lot of work with veterans, and she had a role in where she would do counseling with veterans and just look after them and care for them. And they had a really touching piece about her and her involvement.
It seems like she had a lot more training and background where Noah did not.
She's older, and you can tell she's a little more polished. So this was part of their reprise. You heard him do "Stay," which he did during one of the weeks, and this is "Riot" from Rascal Flatts, which she had done. This was her audition song. She reminds me of a younger version. She reminds me very much of Jennifer Nettles from Sugarland. And then she did that duet with John Bon Jovi, Who Says You Can't Go Home. She's going to have an amazing career. I think she will probably have a more, like from a monetary standpoint and selling more albums, I think that Hunter Girl is going to have the bigger career, but Noah Thompson owns the title of American Idol. He's got that Bonus Jonas look. You know, he kind of looks like a Jonas brother. And by the demographics of who votes for American Idol would suggest those young tween girls and the younger, like, they're voting for him, and I think that's why. And so I'm happy for him. He got his sign there at the Lawrence County line that said "Home of Country Music's Noah Thompson." He's trying to get on the same US 23 brown sign that's got Ricky Skaggs and Chris Stapleton and Sturgill Simpson and Tyler Childers and all them listed. It's his goal to get his name on there. So I'm really happy for him. I'm also really happy for him in this regard. He obviously has a recovery story. Those of us around Kentucky know that he works for ARC, and which Katie made a joke about Noah and the ARC, but it's ARC, and it's Addiction Recovery Center. And so it's that program in Eastern Kentucky, and I think it's moved into certain other areas of Kentucky where people who are in recovery, they find them jobs and they go out and they work. And that's what he was doing, hanging drywall with his friends. And so there's also an additional, you can tell that there's a checkered portion of Noah's past. They don't get too deep into the dynamics of his journey. His journey is described as he hung drywall, his friend submitted his audition tape, he went to Hollywood, now he's the American Idol, and oh, by the way, he has a 1-year-old son. There are just some things in there that they're not shouting from the rooftops, and I think that story, that rebuild yourself, take back your life story is one that's striking a chord with a lot of Americans and probably gave him a little bit of an edge over Hunter Girl, who maybe seems to have had it more together for longer. Does that make sense?
What does Arthur get? His friend.
Arthur's going to get 10% of all future earnings because Arthur's going to be his manager.
Oh, I hope so. Because I
would imagine.
He's got so much personality, too.
He does. Yeah.
And everybody, if you ever been to Eastern Kentucky, you can walk down the street and meet an Arthur.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just the human interest aspect of that story. And then when he went home to do his concert, I was in tears when I got to see his homecoming and just see the way that Lawrence County and the community of Louisa and the way that they received him coming home. And then when the guys took him out there to show him his new sign, his new road sign that, you know, was announcing their pride in having him from the community, I just thought, what a redemption story that is. and really happy for him. And other weekend news, entertainment news, Pete Davidson, Kate McKinnon, Aidy Bryant, and Kyle Mooney all say goodbye to the SNL cast. I am fine with Pete Davidson leaving.
I did watch his weekend update goodbye. It was funny
it was pretty good. You could tell that he was pretty sincere.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't tell whether he's being legitimate or not, but he was. And it's time. Yeah. He also knew he was very self-deprecating. He said, if I can make it to Saturday Night Live, anyone can. Mm-hmm. And so he kind of gave that as a story of hope. Kate McKinnon, I have appreciated Kate McKinnon, but she was never as good as Kristen Wiig. It's unfair to her to compare her to Kristen Wiig, but she was the person who filled the vacuum left when Kristen Wiig left. And so I just went, she's fine, but she's just no Kristen Wiig.
She's the longest running female on the show, though, right?
Kate McKinnon been there longer than anybody else. Maybe. McKinnon was on the show for 11. Aidy Bryant was on there for 10. I don't know what Aidy Bryant's going to go out and do, but she's been kind of a stronghold. She's playing pretty well. They did a nice job on saying sayonara and farewell to all of them. So you get to see the Kim Kardashian version this weekend and rerun if you're interested in that. And then this headline, I've not paid a whole lot of attention to this other than when they say something really crazy was said during this trial. Johnny Depp will testify again today in the defamation trial. When will the two of them learn they are not doing either of them any favors by continuing this trial? Like, there's been so much said between the two of them. Mm-hmm. Somebody needs to take the shovel out of their hands and say, stop digging. It's not doing anyone any good here. So there you go. We'll name the winner of today's water cooler question. We'll see who was smart enough to solve the water cooler question today. We'll have the point to ponder. We'll have chart toppers and more coming up here on In the Know.
You probably don't think about it often, but your life is always a whisper away from becoming something completely different than what it is right now. To illustrate what I mean, consider how your life might look today if events had unfolded differently on January 24th, 1961. Just after midnight, an American B-52 bomber broke into pieces in the skies above Goldsboro, North Carolina. On board were 2 nuclear bombs. Both plummeted to the ground. The first bomb hit at 700 miles an hour and disintegrated. The second bomb landed softly with a parachute. In both cases, the only thing that prevented an explosion was a single switch that failed to engage. Had either bomb exploded, upwards of 60,000 people along the East Coast could have been killed, and American history as you and I currently know it would be very different. You could repeat that idea in your life 100 times a day, in bad and good ways. You narrowly avoid a car accident, or you stayed home and missed out on something good at work. The bottom line is, we don't control the circumstances in our lives as much as we think we do. Whether you're building a career, building a marriage, or building a life, hard work and dedication are necessary, but your efforts will only get you so far. Everything else? Call it God's grace or divine guidance. We all need a little. For Focus on the Family, I'm Jim Daly.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
The credit card debt happened when my daughter was born. I was using one credit card account to roll over into another credit card account, and it was snowballing.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
When I first called Trinity, the representative understood the need based on the situation. They were great people to work with. From the first phone call that I made, they had me on a track to mitigate the credit card debt.
Trinity will consolidate your accounts into one easy-to-manage monthly payment, reduce your interest, and possibly improve your credit score. You'll save thousands.
Working with Trinity gave me the ability to save thousands of dollars. My name's Doug, and thanks to Trinity, I'm debt-free for keeps.
Call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976. That's 1-800-990-6976.
The Lone Star Championship Rodeo is coming to the Grayson County Fairgrounds May 27th and 28th. Bronc riding, calf roping, steer wrestling, barrel racing, bull riding, and more. There'll be a best dressed cowboy and cowgirl contest and gold rush for kids 10 and under. Tickets are $15 for adults, $10 for kids 4 to 12, and kids under 3 are free. Get your tickets online at LoneStarRodeoCompany.com or call 270-269-6000. The Lone Star Championship Rodeo coming to the Grayson County Fairgrounds in Litchfield May 27th and 28th.
This is Sheriff Norman Chaffins with the Grayson County Sheriff's Office. Responding to traffic crashes involving injuries or deaths in Grayson County is a tough part of the job. There is so much out of your control when driving, but what you do have control over is wearing a seatbelt. Less than 2 seconds. That's all the time it takes to buckle up. Those 2 seconds will give you the best chance of surviving a crash, especially at night when the risk of death triples. Why do we enforce seatbelt laws? It's not about writing tickets, it's about saving lives. Please, Grayson County, always buckle up.
It's your man Buffalo Steel from the world famous Snappy Roots, and I got a message for you. Never underestimate you. Never underestimate you.
The Work Ready Kentucky Scholarship provides free tuition for Kentuckians who want to earn a degree in a high-demand career field. Go to WorkReadyKY.com to learn more, or give them a call at 833-711-WRKS.
Available at the Kentucky Community and Technical College System.
Never underestimate you.
When your baby. MB's point to ponder for today. Am I the only one who has observed the fact that K105.com is 22 years old today?
Is it really?
It is. And do you know how I can keep track?
Well,
of
now
the
I
age?
do. Now I guess. Do I know now?
Yes.
Okay.
You do.
I would have never known that.
It's also the 22nd anniversary of the tornado that went right through North Litchfield and then off up US 62. And, you know, the community 22 years ago, there are a lot of things we didn't have. The bypass didn't go all the way through 22 years ago. There were just, but you
Where did the bypass go?
It just ended at 62 for a long time. So it went from here to 62 and then stopped, and then they went a portion of the way down south, and so they've only completed the loop in its entirety in the last 22 years. But as a matter of fact, the first leg I don't think was the first leg wasn't there because I followed the tornado it's 22 years ago today. I followed it. And I had to go through Kuiper subdivision and through the industrial park and that direction to follow it as it made its path through North Litchfield. So, yeah, none of the bypass was there 22 years ago.
Interesting.
I went to the top of the hill from our studio building. I went to the top of the hill, saw it approaching, turned around, came back to our parking lot, and just waited for about 30 seconds and then reversed course and then went. So a lot of the photography that we have, I actually took.
You did?
Yes.
Okay.
I did because I followed it through there. And then later that day, I remember I was on I can't remember if Melanie worked for KYT. I think she worked for KYT. So I did interviews in Lexington with Melanie Glasscock, who's a native of Grayson County, who was doing the evening news there later that day. But yeah, so what was happening was K105.com was under construction. And its launch date was not going to be May 23rd of 2000. But because of the dynamic events that happened and we had the photography, we just said, turn it loose, go live. And we started putting the photographs up, and hard to believe it's been 22 years.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I didn't know the backstory when it came to that.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of context that goes into that. My notifications went away, Sam.
7920 was
70. If your phone number ends in 7920 and you said printer paper, you are the winner of today's water cooler question. You get 4 tickets to the Lone Star Rodeo, which is coming to town on Friday and Saturday. The tickets for you, though, are for Friday. So go ahead and start making your plans. Why did you express? Did you not think of that one, or did you think of that one?
Yeah.
I had it on there.
I had toilet paper or paper towels. So I had paper.
I had pens, computer paper, and coffee.
Is if you print a bunch of personal stuff on the printer, but does that still count as stealing printer paper?
Probably.
Then it's
And
way
a
higher
lot
than
of-
it's
yeah,
way higher than
It
18%.
is. Yeah, it's a lot higher than 18%. Just
I
saying.
think it depends on your definition of what's a lot of personal stuff.
Today's highlight
Well.
in history. I'll just keep moving. Today's highlight in history. In 1984, Surgeon General C. Everett Koop issued a report saying that there was very solid evidence linking cigarette smoke to lung disease in non-smokers. Bonnie and Clyde were shot to death in a police ambush this date in 1934. I failed to mention for you Joan of Arc fans, Joan of Arc was captured by the Burgundians this date in 1430. I was afraid I was about to offend somebody by not mentioning Joan of Arc. Birthdays today: Joan Collins is 89, Drew Carey is 64, Mitch Albom is 64, Drew Carey, I said Drew Carey already. Jewel is 48 today. Ken Jennings is 48 today.
Can't tell whether I would have thought he was older or younger than that.
Yeah, I can't either. Douglas Fairbanks was born this date in 1883. Rosemary Clooney, born this date in 1928.
Kentucky's own. And I know, we mentioned it last week, but I know yesterday was Sarah Cook's birthday.
Oh, yes.
The
Happy
better,
birthday to Sarah.
the better of the two cooks.
The one who actually puts forth all the effort
Yeah.
when coming up with the food items for the show.
Exactly.
He's quick to take the credit. Johnny Preston, number one in 1960, with Cradle of Love.
So rock the baby in the treetop when the wind blows.
Never heard that song before, just now. I didn't even preview it before the show. I just said, it's whatever, it'll be fine.
Luckily, you don't necessarily have to preview songs back.
Yeah, fortunately, those don't have any landmines in them. The Evan Hawkins Singers, Oh Happy Day, number one this date, 1969. Oh Happy Day.
Some interesting-
Stereophonic.
I was going to say, some interesting audio on
It's
this.
quadraphonic. Surely there's a better version of that somewhere. Paul McCartney and Wings with a Little Luck. Number one this date, 1978. I saw where the Beatles from Disney Plus, the Beatles documentary, is now going to be available on Blu-ray. That was delayed. They had some type of delay in that issue, but it's going to be out.
Now, have you gone back and rewatched it? Because I know, didn't you say you felt like you were going to have to really get it all, right?
Well, I want to, but I can't live with the earworms.
Because it's heavy. I mean, not heavy's not the right word, but it's...
It took months to get the earworms out of my head, because when they're working on those songs, they're just because let's change this or let's change that word, and then they do it again. And I'm like, oh, it was pounded into my brain.
And then you're yelling, oh, it's Lady Madonna or whatever.
Oh yeah, you get that. But then there's that one line that John Lennon kept saying, and he'd say he was supposed to go on some television program, and he was rehearsing how he was introducing the Rolling Stones, and he just kept going, "Ladies and gentlemen, the Rolling Stones," and for whatever reason that got stuck. I was like, oh, I got to get that out of my head. So no, but we are going to see Hamilton in 2 weeks, so earworms galore.
Fun
for one of us. Look at that smile. All right, so let me ask you: are you going to watch Hamilton on Disney Plus before we go see it?
Absolutely not.
Really?
No.
You'll like it better.
Well, that's encouraging. I didn't want to go to begin with.
Well, but the songs will be more familiar.
No, I'm not.
I bet you know more of them than you realize.
I don't know.
I've never seen it, so
Heat of the Night, Bryan Adams, number one this date, 1987. Brooks and Dunn, My Maria, number one in 96. Hollaback Girl, Gwen Stefani in 05. And Pharrell Williams, number one in 2014 with Happy. So there you go. There are your chart toppers for today. MB's Pearl of Wisdom says this: never test the depth of the water with both feet. Never test the depth of the water with both feet. MB's Pearl of Wisdom for today. Remember, God loves you, and I do too. If you don't know Jesus, let me know, and I'll introduce you. Look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow for another edition of our show. For Sam Gormley, for Beej, I'm MB, and now you're in the know.
Powering through the Twin Lakes with the best mix of music, news, weather, and fun. If it's in the Twin Lakes,